We're doing the YMCA cycle ergometer test. This is a submaximal exercise test that uses heart rate to predict VO2 max. It is also a graded exercise test and it has multiple stages. 2 to 4 3-minute stages are normally what we use to do this test, and it is supposed to raise the heart rate of the subject between 110 beats per minute and 70% heart rate reserve for at least 2 consecutive stages.
The tools used are the Monarch cycle ergometer, the heart rate monitor, a stethoscope, blood pressure cuff, a metronome, a stopwatch, and the RPE scale.
The first pretest procedure that we do is to check the bike calibration. That means that this has to be on 0, and to change the calibration, you use this. So it has to be on 0 resistance before we start the test. Before starting the test, it's important that you get your subject's medical history to make sure that they are able to do the test. For this test, Kurt is our subject, and a part of the pretest procedure is to explain the test to the subject. This test, like I said earlier, is a submaximal exercise test that uses your heart rate to find your VO2 max, and it is also a graded exercise test.
Okay. Right now we are getting Kurt's weight in kilograms, which is 69.4. Make sure you weigh him with his shoes off. You also want to get his age, which he is 22, and you're going to subtract that from 220 to get his heart rate max, which is 198. The last of the pretest procedures are we adjusted the seat that's comfortable for Kurt. We attached the heart rate monitor, which is underneath his shirt, which is synced to this heart rate monitor to tell us the heart rate. He has to sit for 5 minutes so we can obtain his resting heart rate, and we're also going to get his resting blood pressure. Okay, now that he's rested for 5 minutes, his resting heart rate is 90, and I'm going to get his blood pressure. He is going to warm up for 2 to 3 minutes to the beat of the metronome, which is 100 beats per minute, and at no resistance.
2 to 3 minute warm up. We'll then set the bike by using this right here. We'll recalibrate the bike to 0.5 kilograms for Kurt to start his first stage. Kurt is on his first stage. We have set it to 0.5, and he has to complete the stage for 2 to 3 minutes. We check his heart rate at the last 15 to 30 seconds of his second and third minute. We check his blood pressure during the last 30 seconds of his 3 minute, and then we check the RPE based off of his heart rate in the last 15 seconds of each stage. Since Kurt's heart rate was at a 90 when we first started the test, we will base his heart rate, or we'll base the rest of the stages off of these numbers right here.
Okay, now we are going to adjust his resistance to 1.5. This is the second stage. We determined what resistance off of the chart.
Kurt is on his last 2 minutes of his first stage, and at this point we record his heart rate, which is at 92. And again, we'll check it at the in the next minute at 3 minutes, and if it hasn't changed 5 beats per minute, then he can go on to the next stage. Kurt is on his 2-minute mark of stage 2 at this point. His heart rate is at 120. I've asked Kurt what his RPE is, and he says that he is at 8 on the RPE scale. In another minute, at 3 minutes, we will check his heart rate again, and also in the last 30 seconds of the 3 minutes, we will check his blood pressure.
Okay, we are on the last 30 seconds of his second stage. His heart rate is 122, and now I'm going to get his blood pressure. His blood pressure was 136/82.
Kurt is starting on his third and final round before the cool down. This test requires a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 4. It all depends on where your heart rate reserve is. And Kurt has had 2 consecutive rounds of having within 85% of his heart rate reserve, so it's not necessary to go on to the 4th stage.
Kurt is on stage 3, and I'm going to change his resistance to 2.0 kilograms.
Kurt is on hit his 2-minute mark on his last stage on stage 3. His heart rate is at 153 right now, and I asked Kurt what his RPE was, and he said it was at a 15.
We're on the last stage, on stage 3, the last 30 seconds. His heart rate is 154, and now I'm going to get his blood pressure. And his blood pressure was 144/80.
This is the last part of the test. Since Kurt is done, we'll do a cool down. So we'll turn this back to 0. And now Kurt will pedal for 4 minutes just as a cool down. And we will check his blood pressure and his heart rate every minute. It is important through this test that you keep up with the participant's heart rate and blood pressure, because the heart rate all depends on what stages and what resistance is used on the bike. Also, it's important to follow the metronome for the whole test, not just the beginning of the test. You must follow the metronome at 100 beats per minute for the whole test.
So since we got the participant's target heart rate, which is 220 minus their age, I put a line where their target heart rate is, which is 198. So at each of the intensities, we recorded the participant's heart rate multiple times, and once it was at a steady state heart rate, we marked it and put a little mark at each intensity, and where it is, the first one's 90, the second one's 110, and the last one is 128. So then I drew a line through all the points and matched it up to the max heart rate that our participant had, and then drew a line all the way down to see where the estimated max that he could do, and it was 3.3 liters per minute. So once I get the 3.3 liters per minute as his maximal oxygen intake, I then turn that into a relative maximal oxygen intake by multiplying by 1,000 and dividing by his body weight in kilograms, which is 69.4. And so that turns out to be 47.55 milliliters per kilogram, which is in the 59th percentile, which puts him in the just above average category.